Good evening. My name is Michael Gould Jr., and I'm going to be your trainer for tonight. I'm glad to thank on behalf of the party. I want to thank you all for being here. We have a couple of people I'd like to introduce that are here with us tonight. Our vice chair of the party is Donna Domingo. Donna, thank you for joining us, as well as the co-chair for the party-run presidential primary, Kate Stanley, and former interim chair and former national committee woman, Kate Stanley. We want to thank you both for being here with us. They're here to help out in case I forget something or I go insane, and they can take over. Just kidding. Anyways, again, thank you for being here. We're going to go over quickly what we're going to be doing tonight. What's basically what you're here tonight to learn about is March 6th, the biennial elections, along with the party-run presidential primary, which is going to be taking place the same date and time. So you'll be able to find out how to participate through tonight's training and making sure that you have everything up to date. So when you show up, you're ready to go. And then also what's going to be happening at the state convention. And for those that are interested in how to become a national delegate to go to Chicago. So that's the things we're going to cover tonight. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I will answer them, or we can wait till the end and then we'll go to live questions. Alrighty. Okay, so locations and hours. It's for both the party-run presidential primary and the biennial elections. They're taking place on March 6th. The party-run presidential primary starts at 6 o'clock. The biennial elections will start at 7 o'clock, same locations. And then the voting for the party-run presidential primary will end at 8 p.m. You'll be able to find all the locations on our website. It's up to date as of today. We're only missing one district, and we're working on that, and that's for Lahaina. Given what's happened there, I'm sure everybody understands why that we don't have that meeting location secured just yet. So, first up is the Democratic Party's party-run presidential primary, the PPP. Why do we do this and how? First is, how does somebody get a delegate? You have to get at least candidates have to get at least 15% of votes received to receive at least in their jurisdiction to be able to get votes, to be able to get delegates. And this is just, and these delegates are the jurisdictions are the congressional districts, CD1 and CD2, and then statewide are there at-large 5, at-large alternates 2, and party leaders and party elected officials, and those are 3 delegates, and those are divvied up based on the results of the entire state elections for those ones, and then it's the math is done for the congressional districts on how the votes turned out in those for those elections. So how to vote. You can vote in person at any of the locations that we have available, but we prefer that you go to your house district, your home house district. It's less paperwork for you if you're already a registered member of the party. And you'll be receiving a paper ballot that's going to be provided by the party that will be numbered but not able to track back to you. Does that make sense? That we're going to be able to, it's for security reasons, we're able to track the number of ballots given out, but we're not going to be able to track it back to your vote. So, and again, where does it take place? At the different locations, we have multiple sites across the state, and each of the different house districts have a different location. And again, those things are available on the website, the party's website. And who can run and who can participate? That is anybody who's a member of the Democratic Party and is a registered voter in the state of Hawaii that will be 18 years old by the general election on November 5th, 2024. So if you're 17 and you turn 18 by the general election, you can participate in the party-run presidential primary. And if you're not registered or you're not a party member, you can do that at any of the locations as well on that date. We will have all the paperwork there, but we do encourage you to do it in advance to make sure that it makes it easier on you and easier on our volunteers when you get to your location. And again, those links are all available on the website. There's a big old join button at the top of the page, and you can take care of that, updating any of your information for the party. And when you go to fill that out, we ask you to fill it all out. That includes, even if you're updating your just want to update your email address for us, we want you to fill it all out so it makes it easier for our automated system to match you up with your file that we already have on record for you. Um, why? Why are we doing this? It's to elect the delegates that are going to represent the Democratic Party in the state of Hawaii at the national convention in Chicago. And Hawaii's been allotted 22 elected delegates, and those, like I went over them before, um, from the congressional districts, the party leaders, and at-large delegates, as well as at-large alternates. And they will be elected by all the delegates to the state convention that's taking place May 18th and 19th at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, as well as online.
Michael, can I interrupt you for a second? The question?
Sure.
Okay. And I think actually Gretchen put the question in the chat. How do we know that people are members of the party that they can vote if they show up at one of our biennial meetings?
We'll have a printed list for everybody for your house district. If they're not there, that means they are going to have to fill out the new form, a new membership form. If they're not on the list, when they show up, you'll have your entire house district for those eligible voters in that house district will be on that list. If they're not on that list, that means they need to fill out new paperwork with us anyways. So and that's so yeah, and if they're voting outside of their house district, they're still going to need to fill out the membership form to get and be able to show proof of voter registration. So
Good,
okay.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So our other part of our delegation is made up of automatic delegates, and that is the 9 automatic delegates are U.S. senators, U.S. representatives, House representatives, the party chair, vice chair, national committee man, and national committee woman. And their votes are their own. They're not tied to what takes place at the PPP. Yes, Kate.
Governor too. The governor is
Oh,
an
the governor.
automatic
Oh yeah, I forgot
delegate.
about. Oh yeah, the governor. Oh, there he is. The governor's there. Sorry.
You got him
Yeah.
there, but
Okay.
he's an automatic delegate.
Yes. And then we also have our standing committee members, which are not required to be the delegates. They're elected by quorum of our delegation. And then we also have what's new this time is there are actually 3 pages versus 2. And that is selected by the chair. They're non-voting members of the delegation that get to go to Chicago. So here you go. When you show up, you're a registered member and you only want to vote in the PPP, you just go in. If you're on the list, they'll check you off, they'll hand you your ballot, wham, bam, boom, you're done. If you show up and you're not on the list, like we just talked about earlier, you're going to have to go to the registration table, fill out a DPH membership application form, and fill out a voter registration form if you cannot provide proof of voter registration, which you can pull up on your smartphone. Everybody can, through the Office of Elections, they have that on there that you can just put in your information and show that to the volunteer there, and they will just take a note on the membership form, proof of voter registration, and that they match. Your voter registration has to match your membership application. And then you're going to go back to the registration table. There they will verify all the information you just gave them, and then give you your precinct, give you your ballot, and then you'll receive a verification slip that you have to take with you to your precinct area. And so the reason you do that is that's if you're gonna stick around and participate in the biennial elections. If you're only doing the PPP, vote, fill all that stuff out if you're not on the register, and then you can helle on. Otherwise, we encourage you to stick around till 7 o'clock when the biennial elections start. So pretty straightforward. We will not be taking your voter registrations forms. You're gonna have to turn those in yourself. And we encourage you to do that post haste. So everything's taken care of. So you get your ballot mailed to you at home too.
No.
No, I mean your state election ballots.
Oh yeah, we're not mailing.
Yeah. Now, like I said, the voter registration form, we want you to turn that in yourself. So you're all set for your state elections.
Yes.
Sorry
to interrupt, Michael, but that makes my heart flutter.
Yeah, everything's being done in person this year for the party run presidential primary. You're going to get your paper ballot that night and vote, and you are going to need to turn it in, whether if you As we stand now, you're gonna have three choices on the ballot. It's President Biden, Dean,
Phillips.
there you
Phillips.
go, Dean Phillips, and then undecided. So if you're not sure
No,
who you're
no, there's somebody else.
oh, we got another person. Hey, you're getting brand new information tonight.
Uh,
And we have a
what's his name? Serrato Amando
okay.
Perez Serrato.
Okay, there you go. So you'll have four choices on our party run presidential ballot. Like, and then you turn that in, and then you either stick around for the biennial election or you helle on. So if you stick around for the biennial elections, what's going to happen is the district chair will call the entire meeting to order. They're going to go over the agenda. Uh, all the elections to be held at the biennial election portion are by show of hands. No proxies are allowed. They are going to be going, we'll be electing the state convention delegates by your precinct, and this as well as the alternates. And the number of delegates you get for your precinct is determined by how strong of a Democratic vote there was in your precinct for the 2022 state elections. So how powerful your Democratic vote turnout was for Governor Green and Lieutenant Governor Luke will determine how many delegates you actually get. Every precinct is automatically guaranteed 2 delegates, one male and one female. And then other than that, we run a wonderful little program, and it will tell us how many you actually, if you did a really good job of turning out the vote, you'll get more. And those numbers will be available that night at your tables. So that's done. You guys elect them within your precinct. Once that's done, there'll be a form to fill out that needs to be turned back into the district chair or the person running the meeting in case the district chair can't be there. And then once all the precincts are done, then you're going to come back and come together, and you're going to elect your district officers and your district directors. The officers are chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And then there are 11 at-large directors. After all that's done, and the paperwork, you fill out everything, you're going to elect your at-large county delegates for Oahu and Hawaii County. I don't remember what Kauai and Maui does off the top of my head, but if they do that as well, they'll be doing that after you do all the other elections. And just so you know that when you come back from your precincts, that you're going to report verbally, so everybody knows the election results for your state delegates. So there's a verbal recording along with your written thing that comes back out. And then there'll be announcements. What's coming up with the party, what's happening in your district to get ready for the state convention, the county conventions, and if there's any membership drives or voter registration drives coming up, anything like that. So after that, the state delegate elections. Just so everybody understands that when you go to this, again, this is done by precinct. It's again by show of hands. We only are going to record the winners and in the order that they were elected. This is it's going to be part of the instructions that are going to be available at that night to the person in charge, as well to that you can't stack your votes. So let's say you have 3 male and 2 female delegates. So you can vote 3 different times, but you can't vote 3 times for the same person. So no stacking of the votes. And then the reason they have to be in the order of how they were elected. So in case the delegate can't go, and they have to go to the list of alternates, and it's up to the delegate that was elected. They can pick their replacement from that list. Or then if they can't make it, then they just say they can't make it, and the district chair automatically just seats the next person automatically that's in that list of alternates. If there's any vacancies, the district council will have to come back together to elect to fill those vacancies in the different precincts. And so that happens 45 days after March 6th. The state convention will be held in a hybrid format, but please note that only the elected state delegates that show up in person at the Hilton Hawaiian Village can vote for the delegates to the 2024 Democratic National Convention, as well as for the presidential electors.
Right.
So you have to be there in person to vote for those two things. Everything else you can vote online. But yeah, if you per the DSP, which is a delegate selection plan that we just voted for on Saturday, and it's a requirement from the DNC that people have to be there in person to vote for those two things. So, your district council. District council is your chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary, and 11 at-large directors. The roles and responsibilities of the district council is member outreach, support state and county activities, fill state delegate vacancies, and meet the needs of your house district. You also, if for the house, in case your representative retires and it's a democratically elected Democrat in that seat, then you get to go and vote for the 3 names that go to the governor's office. But there are other responsibilities that come along with this district council. And then you also set at that meeting, you need to set your meeting location for the April 9th, which is the 45 days out after, to help fill vacancies as well as answer any challenges, should there be any challenges filed to the elections that take place at March 6th. Okay. The 2024 DPH State Convention, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be held in hybrid format like we did in 2022. If you get elected a delegate, we encourage you to register as soon as possible. All the information you need is going to be at the dphconvention.com. We are in the process of updating that, given everything that took place on Saturday, getting all the forms and everything. You will be receiving email updates from 2024 CONV at hawaidemocrats.org. So if you get elected a state delegate, please put that that email address in your contact folder. This will help make sure that those emails go directly to your inbox and don't end up in your spam. At the state convention, we're going to be voting on updates to the party's platform, affirmative action plan, constitution, and bylaws, any new resolutions. We'll be electing the party chair, national committee man and woman, the state central committee Senate reps, as well as the delegates of the 2024 Democratic National Convention and the presidential electors, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, and those last two, you have to be there in person to vote on, like I said earlier. But everything else that you see there, you'll be able to vote via the hybrid system or using the electronic ballots. So we encourage you to go out and recruit new Democratic members that you know what's coming up at the March 6th event. The March 6th event is a great place to bring new people to have them come in to become members of the party where they can actually meet their fellow Democrats that live in their house district. It's one of the few times, and for some cases, it's one of the few times we actually have face-to-face interaction with our members at large at the March 6th meeting. So, up next, I'm going to go over briefly on how to become a national delegate. We've already covered how the makeup of Hawaii's the DNC delegation. So what you'd be looking after as a rank and file member is the congressional level or at large or alternates. Pleos there's a rank choice to that. It's in the DSP, the delegate selection plan, and it goes elected officials from
Mayors.
mayors. There you go. Thank you. Mayors down to city council members, and it follows a certain protocol to be eligible for that. So the congressional district level delegates are voted by the all the members at the state convention delegates, and then the SEC votes to fill the party leaders at large and alternates at our SEC meeting after the convention's over. And we have to take into account our affirmative action plan, and that's how we fill and we look at how everybody that was elected as delegates, and we see where we're missing if for the number of people of different racial backgrounds, veterans, sexual orientation, gender identity, ability, let's see, the ability, as well as and age. We Kupuna and our young Dems are something that are also part of the affirmative action plan. So that's where that comes into place. We use those 10 slots to help round out our delegation. So our delegation looks like the population of Hawaii. And also taking into account the backgrounds of our automatic delegates. So who gets to vote? Like I said earlier, it's the elected delegates. So just like there are automatic delegates to the national convention, we have automatic delegates to the state convention. And those automatic delegates per the DSP, per the DNC are not allowed to vote for these delegates. It doesn't mean they can't get elected as a delegate. So you can actually hold 2 seats. You can be an automatic delegate and then get elected at your March 6th meeting. So if you really want to vote for these things, you can do that. So they're the ones that will be voting on. They're the ones that get elected on March 6th or fill in the vacancies to your state delegates convention are the ones that get to vote on that. Again, we don't get to vote on the automatic delegates because we sort of already did by them being elected to their positions. So there you go. So that's who gets to vote for those, and they get to vote, like I said, at the convention. If you choose to run to become a delegate, here's how you do it. There's going to be forms that are going to be available by March 6th online, as well as at the March 6th meetings. You're going to need to file your statement of candidacy, your pledge of support for your candidate that you're going to be supporting. You can change that should you if you go for uncommitted and then decide later you're going to select one of the other ones and see the results from the March 6th elections and see who actually got delegates. So if you pick somebody on the list that didn't get any delegates, you're going to want to change your pledge of support, because there's no way to get a delegate become elected for a delegate slot that does not exist. And just note that the campaigns have the right to review all national delegate forms and review to see, and they can decide to keep you or bounce you. And so that is up to each of the campaigns. So you just have to be aware of that. Quite frankly, I don't remember. I can only Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can only think of like 2 people that were bounced in the last for presidential elections I've participated in here at the party. I can only think of 2 people that they were bounced.
I don't know. I think your memory is correct.
So
They
I'm
don't
just bringing it
bounce.
up. Yeah, I'm bringing it up. It doesn't happen that often. That's the reason I wanted to bring
Right.
that up.
Yep.
But it
That's
just, but
correct.
everybody, yeah. So everybody just make sure you're aware of this fact. But there you go. All the forms must be received no later than 5 p.m. on May 2nd, 2024. You can either email them, mail them in, or drop them off in person at Democratic Party headquarters. And the email address that for those forms will be on the form itself. You'll be able to campaign before and at the state convention. You will be given a list of all the delegates that are eligible to vote for you. So like I said, if you're going to run for your Senate district, your congressional district, so those are the delegates that are going to be able to vote for you, and those are the ones that you'll be given contact lists for all those delegates, and you can only use that list for those campaign purposes, and you cannot use it to fundraise. And you're going to ask me why fundraising, because you are responsible for getting to Chicago under your own power. Yeah. So the responsibilities of a DNC delegate, like I just said, travel to Chicago under your own power. That includes paying for your own airfare and hotel. Campaigns don't cover any of these costs. And we're going to encourage you to stay at the Hawaii's Delegate Hotel because of all the things that are happening around the. I went in 2012. We actually were in the DNC's host hotel, amazing location. But there's going to be a lot of other delegates staying at the hotel that we have. I forget which hotel it is, but there's like 7 or like 12 other delegations from different states staying at the hotel that we're going to be at. And so it's centrally located. It's near the convention center. But if you choose not to, that's up to you. But yet you are responsible for making sure you're there at the times that you need to get your credentials. Credentials are handed out every morning. You do not get all of them at once because we don't get them all. The party only gets them sent to us each morning. So you have to show up and get your credentials from the leader of the pack. There are no fees to come to the DNC. It's all covered. Everything to attend the convention is free. There are activities during the day. The caucuses have things. You're gonna want to come in a couple days before. I just speaking from personal experience, coming in a day or so before the convention actually starts because there are activities that take place beforehand. If you've never been to Chicago, it's a great opportunity to see the city. They have, at least they did in 2012. We had a bunch of different, like we had free concerts beforehand. We have a welcoming reception before everything kicks off. And then so during the day, like I said, is the you're going to have your caucus meetings for any of the affinity groups that you belong to. There will be meetings and receptions, and that's why you want to, if you get elected as a DNC delegate, you're going to want to check your spam folder regularly, whichever email you gave us, because we're going to pass that along to the DNC, and the DNC is going to pass that along to the appropriate people. And so the Chicago convention is in the middle of August. I want to say we'll get you the dates. The dates will be posted. We'll have the dates posted to the website as well. Another thing is that remember that you're representing not just the state of Hawaii and not just the Democratic Party of Hawaii, but the entire state of Hawaii on a national level. So just to keep that in mind. And if you have any other questions about after tonight about becoming a national delegate or what you can do, feel free to reach out to me. Because I had an amazing time, and I recommend everybody at least trying to, if you have the ability to do it, to be able to try it at least once. So on that note, I'm going to stop the recording, and we're going to.
Michael, can you look at the